Well, Mr. Javed, we know that the 48-hour ceasefire between Afghanistan and Pakistan has expired just minutes from now. So what do you see that, do you think that the ceasefire would continue as both the parties are engaged in dialogue? Do you see peace being established, or do you see more of these skirmishes coming along?
The broader picture is that I think there are friendly countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and probably Turkey is also there. And they want some kind of a negotiated settlement. I think there's nothing wrong with the idea if this ceasefire is extended, maybe for the next 48 hours, maybe for the next 72 hours, so that there is a window is created so that some kind of a dialogue takes place, and with the clear focus that Taliban government will have to agree on something, that either they are going to expel all these terrorist groups and their, more particularly their leadership, or they are going to make it sure that there is no infiltration from Afghan side of the border into the Pakistani side of the border, because the problem is not the number of the militants they send from Afghanistan. The problem is the leadership has been controlling and managing the scale of terrorism in Pakistan. And now, obviously, they have the sleeper cells inside Pakistan's bordering region. The fact that there is a kind of ethnic homogeneous population on the both sides of the border, it becomes very difficult to make a distinction who is Afghan and who is a Pashtun. So I think that is an advantage because of which they have a good base of intelligence network in Pakistan. The Pakistan's leadership, of course, has been taking up these issues with the friendly countries, that they need to put sufficient amount of pressure on the Taliban government. Now we have to see also the other side of the picture. What is it that the Afghan government is not listening to Islamabad the way it should have listened long ago? Not a year ago, but at least 4 or 5 years ago. The reason is there is a fear within the ranks and files, more particularly among the senior leadership of the Taliban, that if they expel TTP from Afghanistan to Pakistan, or if they don't listen to the TTP leadership, there is a possibility that the cadres of the TTP and maybe the leadership of the TTP, they may join a far more extremist group, the Daesh, and that can possibly destabilize the Afghan government. Now there is a new situation right now. The new situation is that on one side, Afghanistan's government is facing attacks on Pakistani side of the border because of for giving shelter to the terrorists. On the other side, they are now in two minds that what to do about that. If they expel TTP leadership, then they are going to join Daesh. Now, point is that it is going to be the decision of the Taliban government. I think they must undertake a decision in favor of the friendly countries. Reason is that it has been the Pakistan's government, yes, behind the scene, that we have supported Taliban for the 20 long years in the Afghan insurgency, because Pakistan had a clear interest that there was India's military footprint inside Afghanistan, and there was NATO's military footprint inside Afghanistan, and they were all united in one thing: to take out Pakistan's nuclear program by destabilizing Pakistan. This terrorism phenomenon, you know, it's not a new one. So in that context, now we are seeing that India, which has worked against Afghan Taliban when they were undertaking insurgency, now it is becoming friend of Afghan government. Obviously, this is a provocative for Pakistan, and Pakistan is, I think, conscious of the fact that it has to resolve this issue in a manner that there are no problems in the long run. In the short term, Pakistan has made military gains, but in the long run, we have to have a very dispassionate discourse of discussion. We need to look at the pros and cons, because at the end of the day, the weapon of Afghan government and also all these terrorist insurgent groups like Daesh, more particularly TTP, which is more active against Pakistan, their weapon, their strength lies in insurgency. Their strength lies in hide and seek. Their strength lies in getting some kind of intelligence reports from the ground about the location of Pakistan's military troops and other strategic installations. Therefore, in the long run, it could be a problematic for Pakistan. Therefore, I think we have used the military means, and now it is the high time that diplomatic means are used to make it sure that there is no more terrorism infiltration from Afghanistani side of the border.
Well, that would be the very ideal situation, but Pakistan, of course, welcomes peace. Pakistan prioritizes peace over conflict any day, but we do see that this conflict already complicated in many natures. We also see that India is involved on the other side. India would try its level best to derail ceasefire talks, derail peace talks between Afghanistan and Pakistan. So how do both the parties deal with this thorn?
I think you have addressed the very core of the problem in your question. And that is a fear, that is the apprehensions, and that is the calculation which I believe is being made within the corridors of power in Pakistan, that how to handle India. Because India needs an opportunity to use Afghan government against Pakistan. Because that is a real fear. It's not that just America's leftover weapons inside Afghanistan. The fear is that from Tajikistan border and from the other Central Asian states, India can obviously smuggle in all kind of weapons and can supply them to the Afghan government, and those can be used in any long drawn war with Pakistan. So therefore, war is not in the interest of either country. So therefore, I think this is the high time where diplomacy needs to work, where diplomacy needs to come into action in a manner that Taliban start listening to Pakistan. Because problem with Pakistan is that we have to handle a situation. What are the scenarios for Pakistan? That if there is a long drawn war with Afghanistan, India would be coming into action. The Northern Alliance, which has been against Pakistan in the past, there is a proven history, and they are more linked with the Western agenda on Afghanistan. It was Pakistan's arch rival in the past, and now there may be tactical move on their side that they may have a cozy relation with Pakistan, but once they come into power, situation will change altogether. Taliban under Mullah Umar was very friendly to Pakistan, and I think still Pakistan have assets inside within the Taliban's government and who are very friendly to Pakistan, who are against the presence of the TTP inside Afghanistan. Therefore, I think regime change operation in Kabul or in Kandahar is not in the interest of Pakistan in the long run, because the options are the options are from bad to the worst. Because in case if the Northern Alliance is not there, then what are the other options? Other option is Daesh. Daesh is a kind of a terrorist group which does not listen to the common sense. And there are examples where Daesh cadres, Daesh fighters, they killed their mothers on the basis of a nonsensical, misleading edifice, fatwa. So all I'm saying is that the options with Pakistan are ranging from bad to the worst. I think Pakistan needs to settle down with a bad option. Bad option is Taliban government. We have to resolve this issue so that there is no more infiltration. But again, if there is a resumption of hostilities between two countries, I think this would be terrible option. There will be terrible scenario. India is going to militarily, politically benefit from this situation. And then also the reality is that in Pakistan, nobody wants a war with Afghanistan. Unlike India, there is no enmity among people against the Afghan government. Reason being is that ethnically speaking, religiously speaking, geographically speaking, we are having a homogeneous population. There is another scenario, and that scenario is people talk about India, that on the eastern side of Pakistan border, yes, there is a same ethnic group on the both sides of the border, but since there is a biggest division, and that division is that of a religion on the basis of which Pakistan was created. So therefore, that scenario does not exist when it comes to Pakistan's northwestern region. Reason is that ethnically, religiously, they are so much homogeneous that their interests are intertwined, and both countries' economy depend on each other. Their relatives are on the both sides of the border. I think, and every day, tens of thousands of people have a back and forth movement on the both sides of the border, and very importantly, that Pakistan cannot man the entire 27-kilometer long zigzag porous border. Pakistan does not have that kind of manpower. Probably no country in the world would have that kind of manpower to man the entire border. So therefore, we have to have a friendly relation with Afghanistan, and we have to resolve this situation, that the very core problem is infiltration from that side, and then more importantly, the instructions that comes from the leadership of the TTP to attack Pakistan's military soldiers. I think our focus has to be there, and we should not go for any regime change operation that would not serve Pakistan's long-term geostrategic objectives.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Javed Rana. You are an Afghan affairs expert. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments. What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.